way to the cage, smooth, Benson, Henderson.
In 1969, an all-star gold glover for the Cardinals named Curt Flood was traded to the Phillies. He refused to go and challenged baseball's century-old reserve clause. He lost that 3-year fight, but athletes won the war and free agency was born. There have been free agents in MMA, but in this defining year for the sport, Ben Henderson will always be remembered for a pioneer, as a pioneer for his decision. He'll be remembered for his titles in the octagon, his leadership outside it as a teammate, as a father, but his legacy inside the Bellator cage, Jimmy, begins tonight, and it begins with the highest degree of difficulty.
Yeah, he couldn't have chosen a tougher test. He's a natural lightweight, a big lightweight, but a natural lightweight. Koreshkov is a big welterweight.
Jimmy's Keys to Victory brought to you by Warcraft, 2 worlds, 1 home. Warcraft in theaters June 10th.
Benson Henderson is at his best when he mixes it up, stays tricky. He's a southpaw, mixes in the takedown very well, and own the deep water. He has an endless gas tank, so many 5-round fights. He wants to wear Koreshkov down.
A new era begins inside the Bellator cage. The former WEC lightweight champion, the former UFC lightweight champion, goes for Bellator gold.
Now making his way to the cage, the reigning Bellator welterweight world champion, Andrey Koreshkov.
When Andrey Koreshkov won the world title here at Mohegan Sun in July, we saw the equivalent of a solar eclipse. He smiled. And that smile, he told me this week, was relief, because Koreshkov fights not for himself, but for his team, his coaches, and his country. And if Fedor Emelianenko carried the mantle of Russian MMA with cathedral calm, Andrey Koreshkov now carries it with sullen strength. And Jimmy, how about this daily double in his pocket? The confidence of a champion with the luxury of being the underdog.
Remember, Kill Bill, those of you lucky enough to have your lives, take them with you. However, leave the limbs you've lost. They belong to me. That's a gym in Russia. Bloody, painful. That's what makes them the fighters they are. Koreshkov, ice cold.
Jimmy's Keys brought to you by Warcraft, 2 worlds, 1 home. Warcraft in theaters June 10th.
Power punches all day. He's facing a southpaw. He's facing a lightweight. Use that right hand and be the bully. Everybody who commented about the weigh-in, what did they say? Man, Koreshkov looks big. He needs to impose his will on the smaller man tonight.
They come from 2 worlds. Their 1 home tonight is the Bellator cage. The tail of the tape in the main event, brought to you by Dave & Buster's, the only place to eat, drink, play, and watch sports.
6'1", the height advantage for Andrey Koreshkov. They weighed in both at 170. Throw that right out the window. Koreshkov much bigger tonight.
One of the most anticipated main events in Bellator history. It begins with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miller Lite presents Bellator MMA from Mohegan Sun Live on Spike. The time has come for the main event of the evening. 5 5-minute rounds for the Bellator Welterweight World Championship. Sanctioned by the Mohegan Tribe Department of Athletic Regulation Chairman Kevin Brown, Chief of the Mohegan Tribe Lynn Malerva, Supervising cage side Mike Murtha, and ABC President Mr. Mike Mazzulli. Tonight's title fight is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light beer. It's Miller time. And now, first introducing the blue corner. At 5'9", weighing in 170 pounds even, the 2-time former lightweight champion tonight makes his Bellator debut, bringing 23 professional victories, 5 defeats, fighting out of Glendale, Arizona, presenting the challenger, Smooth Benson Henderson. At across the cage, the champion tonight fights out of the red corner at 6'1", weighing in at 170 pounds even. Tonight, in his first defense of the title, he enters with 18 professional victories, just 1 defeat. He fights out of Omsk, Russia, the defending Bellator welterweight world champion, Andrey Spartan Koreshkov. But the bell rings, the referee in charge of the action, Big John McCarthy.
Jones for the Bellator World Championship. I want you to fight clean, fight hard, fight fair. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. If you want to touch gloves, touch them now. Best of luck to both of you.
It is the 4th time John McCarthy has refereed a Benson Henderson fight, including the only time he's been knocked out in 28 professional fights by Rafael dos Anjos. Since February 1st, since the announcement, we have waited for this moment.
All right, here we go. You ready? You ready? Let's get it on.
The fight clock in the main event brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Cheers. It's Miller time.
Difference maker here may be in the wrestling. We saw the offensive wrestling of Koreshkov against Lima, but the defensive wrestling. Can he stop the takedown of Benson Henderson?
You remember, that was an element of surprise. That was the last thing Douglas Lima expected. Koreshkov had more takedowns in that fight than he's had in his entire career combined.
Also, Lima, not a wrestling background. Good jiu-jitsu, but not a wrestler.
Which Benson Henderson was at Dana College. Well, you can just feel the eyeballs, you can feel the electricity. You wonder about the nerves. We talk about how cold and stoic Koreshkov is, but he's still a human being in there, and he's still just 25. And a huge kick.
You see the range differences. He has to kick and get out. That was a big punch and nowhere close. The energy you have to expend, the timing you need to overcome a range deficit, it's very challenging.
As experienced as Benson Henderson is, he is not experienced fighting a fighter this long, this big.
He has fought at 170. He hasn't fought contenders, certainly hasn't fought a champion. We saw Koreshkov knock down Mario Saromskis with a jab. That's how much power this guy has. Straight right is lethal. I'm honestly surprised he's standing this long.
10 of his last 11 fights, Benson Henderson have been 5-rounders.
And when he does finish, it's usually on the ground. 23 wins, 10 by submission, only 2 knockouts.
And you saw him scramble away there as he got back to his feet. That's the only time he's been knocked out by Dos Anjos. In a scramble, he was against the fence, so he didn't have room to back away like that.
Against a guy with, in my opinion, welterweight power.
Oh, strong kick to the ribs. Koreshkov, so much power, so much range. You see it now. It's exactly what you're talking about.
It's not the kind of thing you easily adjust to on the fly either. Guys with a more basic kind of style, I mean, you can read them and react, but Koreshkov, rangy, powerful. And if he hasn't been spawned with guys like that, man, it's tough. And not many guys have that style. And looks at that leg kick in a southpaw stance.
Very strong opening 3 minutes for the defending champion.
If Ben Henderson is shook by the power, don't expect him to show it. Man. Also another good punch. Not a lot of guys use in MMA. Straight right to the liver against the southpaw. It's a great punch.
Koreshkov trying to dive in. Shot knee by Koreshkov. A great opening round for the champion. Ben Henderson needs to go to plan B here.
And a reaching takedown should not be plan B. You see those leaping punches, nowhere close.
What did you say, Jimmy? The first time you get hit by Andrey Koreshkov, you know you've been hit by something different.
And it's not just the power. I mean, a lot of guys in the gym have power. It's not that scary. It's speed. It's where did that punch come from? I didn't even see it. That's the scary part. Nice kick. And you see how he resets every time. He doesn't get overexcited. He doesn't go crazy for the finish. Ice cold. He goes right back to the plan.
And his heart is racing because of the magnitude of the situation. He's not showing it. Twice, Andrey Koreshkov won the old-school Bellator tournaments to get the world title shots. The first one he fell short against Ben Askren, and he learned from that. And did not fail in his second attempt here last July against Douglas Lima.
Nice right hand by Koreshkov.
Short right.
And it's straight. It's right down the pipe. It's not loopy. It's not overhand.
Big shot! That got Ben Henderson. And he is lucky he is deep in the round. Ben Henderson in some trouble trying to dive down to stay out of the way of those clubbing right hands by Koreshkov. And the world champion puts on a near dominant opening round. And that sound you hear around the world are eyeballs opening. Benson Henderson went from cleaning up the gym to owning it. And he went from the very bottom of this sport to the very top. But he is in a different kind of water tonight, and that is a shark whose name might be very well known very soon. Obviously, Jimmy, the first round of Koreshkov, were you close to making that 10-8?
So close, you don't even know. I didn't know what to write down. I went 10-9, but that could easily be a 10-8 round. Easily. Dominance, and it had that fight-stopping moment. The only reason I didn't call it 10-8 was I didn't think Henderson was in that kind of trouble. He was definitely hurt.
He's swinging wildly. That reach advantage it's
been the story of the fight.
It has been. Arms and legs.
One of those funky attacks. He likes punching the leg, a lot of weird stuff. And what he doesn't want to do is get funky and open himself up, because he now has a healthy respect for the power of Andrey Koreshkov. Look at that. Clipped his head with that kick.
Benson Henderson just missed that knee. He's dancing through raindrops right now.
He's also getting hit by a lot of raindrops. And when they trade punches, when they trade kicks, there's no comparison. Koreshkov just hits way harder.
99% of the conversation was about Benson Henderson and his decision to come to Bellator. Very, very little was about his decision to fight at 170, and that has been the story here for the first round plus.
It's not only disheartening not getting a takedown like that, it also costs you a lot of energy. A takedown is a full body commitment. It's not like throwing a jab, it's not like throwing a right hand. You're throwing your whole body into there, and so far, he's got nothing out of it.
Last July, Andrey Koreshkov, before his title fight, says, I feel nothing. I make weight, I get my belt, I go home. And it's exactly what he did.
And if he dies, he dies. That's their attitude. Ice cold.
Couldn't help but think of Drago and Rocky when the two got together to touch gloves at the beginning, because it's just jarring. Yeah. The size difference.
I mean, I didn't even really think of it that much, because, you know, Ben is a big lightweight, but when they weighed in, when they faced off, I thought the same thing everybody else did. Is, you know, when we interviewed him, the first thing we said was, man, he looks big. I think strength, conditioning was a big part of his camp. Make your opponent feel that strength difference.
Think of the names on the mantle of Benson Henderson. Probably all of them are watching right now, and they're watching Ben Henderson get clubbed around here for the first round and a half. Koreshkov so quick in and out.
Also, you don't need, I mean, he's a fast guy, but you don't need that much speed when your opponent's that far away. He can see these loopy shots so far. And Benderson's not throwing them in combination either. He's kind of winging one. He can see that.
Seeing the experience of Ben Henderson just to survive here. Be careful of the grounded opponent, so Koreshkov holds back.
That was the first time Koreshkov kind of got a little too aggressive trying to throw that uppercut. Almost gave Henderson a takedown. You see his confidence building. Starting to really feel it, but Doesn't want to get complacent.
Left got in, some very enthusiastic applause now in the corner of Ben Henderson.
But you see the difference. His left lands. Koreshkov's head didn't go anywhere.
Koreshkov, who made such an emphasis to keep that fight to the ground against Douglas Lima, has done everything he can to keep the fight from the ground here.
Nice body shot.
A better second round for Ben Henderson, but I'm not sure he's done enough to win it.
No, I don't think so at all. A couple of decent shots, but definitely a Ben Henderson round. I'm sorry, a Koreshkov round.
Said there could be judges who saw round 1 10-8 for Koreshkov.
Easily.
Oh man, another big body shot. Ben Henderson might have thought that fence was closer than it really was.
And what I like is Koreshkov is putting money in the bank early. Leg kicks, body shots. He's not waiting until round 3. He's throwing them in round 1 and 2. Taking the air, taking the energy out of his opponent. Body shots and leg kicks. Oh my God.
That right was another big one. But Ben Henderson is taking some monster shots here through 2 rounds.
And you notice he takes those risks, the flying knees, at the end of the round. If Ben gets a takedown off of it, it's not going to swing the rounds. Fighting a very smart fight.
The only thing going for Ben Henderson right now through 2 rounds is he's still on his feet. If you're new to Bellator, you're probably shocked by what you're seeing. If you're not new to Bellator, you knew this was very much within the realm of possibility.
And that's what I meant by stay tricky. He has a lot of punches that not a lot of guys use. Those leaping body shots. Needs to dig into that well, because when it comes to the straight kickboxing, he's getting beat here.
The chant of "Let's go Benson" coming up from a sold-out crowd. Another spinning back kick lands for Koreshkov. And I don't know if this is as much anti-Koreshkov as fans getting behind the team that's losing to try to get a more competitive fight.
When he came in, there were chants of USA. There's a lot of country support, a lot of nationalism here. Koreshkov, the Russian fighter, he's not going to get a lot of love out here, but you got to respect him. He's fighting a masterful fight so far.
Chin, the experience, the guile of Benson Henderson is why he is still standing. And a lot of guys would be here a minute into round 3.
Nice left hook. Every time he hurts Henderson, Henderson comes back and goes for a takedown. And he hasn't gotten the takedown, but it's prevented Koreshkov from landing combination punches.
Every takedown has been defensive in nature.
Yeah, it's been, I'm hurt, I got to grab something. Reminiscent of, Hasagawa against Brendan Ward. He got hurt and would go for a takedown. That's what we're seeing.
If Andrey Koreshkov is successful, then what is next? Brendan Ward suffering his first setback at 170 earlier tonight. Was Honeycutt, got back in the win column. Paul Daly and Josh Koscheck set to go in London, as is Michael Venom Page, who got his 10th straight win without a loss earlier. Here, Ben Henderson killing time, but there's nothing offensive.
Yeah. Koreshkov so far showing great balance, showing great defense, but
Benson Henderson is a world-class athlete. But boy, not only is he taking a lot of shots, this is a lot of energy he's giving up.
A ton. Nice up though. Koreshkov smiling at him.
That's the only time you ever see Koreshkov smile.
Come on, working through. There we go. Down.
Koreshkov had him lined up.
Look at the flexibility of Koreshkov.
To stay out of trouble.
Knees to
Set up that
beautiful
knee.
job.
Tough to tell if it got through.
I think it hit him in the ribs. Trying to decide what to hit.
He's got to be careful with the ground to the opponent here, and that's why Koreshkov pulling back a little bit, trying to set him up. He's got him up. Another knee to the ribs. Full marks for Benson Henderson, because this has been a rout through 3 rounds. And he is showing the heart of a champion, still standing in front of Koreshkov.
And what I like about Koreshkov in these instances is you never see that, man, why can't I put this guy away? You never see him spend a lot of energy. He goes back to the drawing board in a sense. Keeps his hands high, goes back to what he's doing. Beautiful liver shot. And that's the difference in range right there. Koreshkov's liver shot, straight, right to the ribs. Ben Henderson tries to answer back, he's too far away.
He couldn't get to him in the first round, let alone after taking 3 rounds of punishment. The noise, it is reverberating through your living room, on your tablet, wherever you're with us right now. You can hear those shots from Koreshkov.
What that does is take all the power out of the takedown eventually. Leg starts killing you. You got no spring in your step, rounds 4 and 5. When he usually has a great gas tank and can maybe pull away, the body shots, the leg kicks, take it out of you. And make no mistake, Koreshkov's not going to rush for a knockout. He's not going to rush for a finish. He's content, I think, to put away rounds. Don't expect him to kind of break character and suddenly go crazy for a knockout. Oh my God, right on the temple. That was with the foot.
We're going to the championship round, but Koreshkov already has 3 in the bank. That's a gas tank. That's an athlete right there.
Yeah.
Ready? Let's go.
Ben Henderson is still alive. But he's got to be way behind, certainly is on our scorecards out here.
Yeah, 30-27 easy. You can even say 10-8 in round number 1.
Judges have been more liberal after a lot of discussion about that 10-8 round. And round 4 begins the same way the first 3 did.
The only thing I will say is, saw a bad decision tonight, one I did not agree with. Ben Henderson from the United States taking on a Russian fighter. You can't feel super comfortable about your chances when it goes to the scorecards.
There is no Mr. Magoo eyesight bad enough to see those first 3 rounds the other way.
You have not been in this sport long enough, my friend, because I've seen some horrible ones.
That's not
Hopefully you are right.
That's not eyesight. That's something else. Oh, Ben Henderson and Koreshkov had that scouted.
He liked that.
Touch gloves a little bit.
You know, I can't stress it enough. The funky angles, the attacks that a lot of guys don't use and other fighters can't see, they're coming from Koreshkov's point of view, from a mile away. He can just see them coming. Even when it's an unorthodox technique, his range advantage negates the surprise in his attacks.
Best chance, really, for Ben Henderson, maybe in this fight. Koreshkov turned quickly. What I was getting at earlier is, if Benson Henderson ever been in a situation where he needed a knockout late in one of those fights, and in the Pettis fights that he lost, he had lost 2 fights that went to decision. He had a couple of fights late in his UFC career against Cowboy Cerrone. I thought he probably won that fight. The Josh Thompson fight, which he did win, that one could have gone the other way.
Gilbert Melendez, a very gut check kind of fight, but never, man, I'm in a deep hole and I need to come back. And that's a different kind of mentality. Benson Henderson came into this fight having to, I think, outland 2 or 3 to 1 to match the size difference. That hasn't even been close.
Tito Ortiz, among the many millions impressed with Andrey Koreshkov.
Like this, you know, a kick to the calf. Yeah, that's annoying, but you know, it's not going to turn the tide of the fight. Foot stomps, and that's great, but he's in a hole, and he's got to land some big shots to really get Koreshkov moving back.
If you were of the mind to do it, another good left by Koreshkov, backing Henderson up. You could subtract from the Koreshkov title win in July and say Douglas Lima was really injured. And so you can talk yourself out of Koreshkov that way. But maybe he wasn't as legit as we thought because Douglas Lima was hurt and the way that fight went down.
But the attitude going in, Ben Henderson, a very hard worker, you know, a guy who goes 110% in the gym. But when we talked about Koreshkov, his attitude was a little, He didn't seem to go, man, I'm facing a really tough fighter. I'm facing a guy who can knock me out with either hand. He didn't seem to have that little edge of fear of the power of Koreshkov that wasn't there. And that's, I think, is showing a little bit tonight. He's bringing some power that I don't think he expected.
Henderson, like anyone at the top level, overcoming different kinds of adversity. When he entered the sport, he had vision problems. He had to have vision, and his vision just got wobbled and blurred on that shot from Koreshkov.
What a shot! I have a new respect for I always respected the chin of Ben Henderson, but this is another level.
Jimmy, we didn't know about the chin of Benson Henderson because he's never taken a beating like this.
Oh, he cannot go for the guillotine from here.
He's thinking about it.
He is. He's cranking on it hard. Trying to submit the submission specialist. This would be incredible.
How much energy does he want to devote to that?
The head movement of Ben Henderson.
You want to talk about a world-class fighter, Ben Henderson, on the wrong side of a 4-round rout so far, and he is still on his feet. Four down, 1 to go. And the only thing going Ben Henderson's way is that he's still on his 2 feet.
We're down a lot.
This right hand, sort of a loopy uppercut. And look at Ben Henderson drop, and he dropped right into a single leg. That's been saving him all night, is his takedown instincts. But the power differential on display throughout this fight. Another right hand on the chin.
His teeth in his mouth right now. Great respect.
Back up, back up, back up. You ready? Get on.
And look at the defense, the right hand glued to his chin. It's been that way since the first minute of the first round. I'm curious to see how the strategy changes now. He's got to be ahead 4 rounds to none. The only question is, are any 10-8s in there? Will he still fight the way he's been fighting? My guess would be yes. Now it's Henderson that really needs to turn it on and go for broke here.
Having a Hall of Fame caliber career, knockout power is not what you think of with Ben Henderson. It takes him a little bit longer. He's got to get the fight to the ground. He's got to work those submissions. One of his best shots of the fight night.
Yeah, Koreshkov got his hand up there. It was partially blocked. Once again, that was off the arm.
How is Ben Henderson still throwing shots like that?
Because he has great gas. I mean, that's what he is. He's a cardio dynamo. But it hasn't been the gas. It's been the power differential. He hasn't been able to land, and when he has, it just hasn't been as significant as the shots Koreshkov has been landing. Case in point.
Ben Henderson still trying to solve the puzzle with that clock ticking louder. That kick got through a little, and Ben Henderson stays on his feet. Koreshkov still taking chances.
And that's a time when other fighters in a scramble, a lightweight, would have ended up on the bottom. Koreshkov just powers his way back to his feet. Tried to sit out. Koreshkov not having it.
Desperate search for offense for Ben Henderson.
Man,
the knee got through.
Brutal.
Ben Henderson, who has fought so many years at the highest level, has only been stopped 3 times in 28 fights, and you can see why. On the wrong side of the most lopsided fight of his professional career. And he's still moving around halfway through round 5.
You just don't see a path, and that's a leaping takedown from nowhere.
Ben Henderson is daring him. You got to take chances now.
But Koreshkov, though, you know, I wouldn't go to the ground. I wouldn't even end up in guard if I could avoid it.
The good news is this has been Ben Henderson's best round of the fight. I'm still not sure it's
I
enough
still
to win.
have Koreshkov ahead, but
Ben Henderson just avoiding shots. Ben Henderson, he knows the score right now. Yeah.
leg kicks are not going to turn the tide. Maybe a big punch like that, but once again, it's from long distance. Oh, look at that right hand.
Koreshkov landed his biggest, best shots in the opening round of this fight. And it has looked pretty much like this as we enter minute 25. For 2.5 months, every ounce of the conversation has been about Ben Henderson. Tomorrow morning, the conversation will be about Andrey Koreshkov.
Oh, man, rather right.
Ben Henderson knows he has to get him to the ground. One desperate move, trying to get Koreshkov, trying to lure him down there, and Koreshkov's not going to bite.
And the reason I have Koreshkov ahead in this round, even though I think it's Ben Henderson's best round, is, you know, you need 3-1 with that size advantage. Every time he hits him, he hurts him. Koreshkov, when he gets hit by Henderson's strikes, be they kicks or punches, goes right through him. Beautiful knee.
The final 10 seconds. His performance here last July for Andrey Koreshkov made him a world champion. His performance tonight has made him a made man in MMA. Replay brought to you by Blackheart Premium Spice Rum, the Bold 93 proof rum that's edgy to the core.
A lot of choices for highlights when it comes to Andrey Koreshkov in this fight. Flying knees, kicks, punches. Ben Henderson, give him credit for staying in this fight. Give him credit for never giving up, for never being mentally broken. But a technical mismatch from the beginning. Great stuff by the champ, Andrey Koreshkov.
Bellator Kickboxing makes its debut after this debut for Benson Henderson. But the talk on Twitter and the talk of the MMA world is going to be that man, the welterweight world champion, Andrey Koreshkov.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 complete rounds of action, the title fight goes to your judges' scorecards. At cage side, Troy Winkapaw, David Torelli, and Sue Sanidan all see the fight exactly the same at 50 to 45. All have it for the winner by unanimous decision, and still Bellator welterweight world champion Andrey Koreshkov.
You can say he shocked the world, but he certainly didn't shock himself. The dominant welterweight world champion is 19-1 and is with Jimmy Smith.
I'm here with the man who is still the welterweight champion in Bellator. All the talk coming in about free agency, about Ben Henderson choosing you to fight, but it was a wipeout from start to finish. How did it feel?
Как ты чувствуешь то, что выиграл бой от начала и до конца против такого серьезного соперника?
А это было предсказуемо. Мой тренер Александр Шеменко сразу сказал, что я выиграю все 5 раундов. И выиграю безоговорочно. И спасибо ему, потому что мы с ним вместе выиграли этот бой. Вместе с нашей командой «Новый поток» и клубом Оренбург, Оренбургским клубом «Боец» и школой «Шторм» из Омска.
He's not often like that. What did he say?
Yeah, I knew it from the beginning because my coach Alexander Shlemenko told me that I will win every round in this fight. And I won it with him, with his help, and with the help of my team, Newstream, and all the other teams.
И, пожалуйста, я прошу, запустите в клетку Александра Шеменко. Пожалуйста.
And I really want to ask you, please let my coach Alexander Shlemenko to get in the cage with me now. Thank you.
You heard what he had to say. Wants his coach in. I'll talk now, Benson, Henderson. You wanted the biggest challenge you could get for your Bellator debut. You got that tonight. You never backed down. How are you feeling, man?
Sad. I hate losing. I hate it more than anyone else on this entire planet. Props, hats off to Andrey. Tough as heck. Coming in, we knew how tough he was. We knew it was gonna be a good fight, tough fight. Big as heck, strong as heck.
So what's your future in Bellator? That's my question. What's next for you, brother?
I don't know. I'm listen to the bosses, see what they say. Talk to Scott, to Mike, to Rich, those guys, and see where we go from here. I know one thing though. I don't like losing. I want to get back in there right away.
He'll be more motivated. Let's give it up for Ben Henderson and the champion, Andrey Koreshkov, ladies and gentlemen.